Hello, what's good? I'm back. Exegetist, here I am. Welcome to my video blogs. Get your mind open. I hope to open up your mind right now. And as a disclaimer again, please share out these video blogs and let people know what's going on. Let them know what I'm doing. And I'm sure people will benefit and appreciate it and like it and find it informative and so on. So please share it, and I appreciate the feedback as well. All right, let's get straight into this. The question I want to bring to this video blog is, did God create evil? Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people that will know the answer to this, and I know there's probably a lot of people that don't know the answer to it, as to why I'm answering it now, because it was a question that came to me. So just let me set the scene a little bit. I was at work and basically had to meet up with some other colleagues from another department to do an information sharing thing with the public, okay? Without getting into too much information, me and my colleagues had to meet up with some other people, do some leaflets, give out some information to the public. And a guy and a girl turned up. I've never met them before, but we were just talking and so on. And the girl was about my age, okay? She was a young girl, so young, like my age, young. Okay, and there was an older dude. But anyway, me and my colleague were talking to the girl, not because she was a girl, but she was just younger and she was relating better to us. So we were just chatting. Anyway, we spoke about all sorts of topics. We were speaking about studying and times at college, times that she went to uni. She was talking about her studying philosophy at university. We were talking about business, current issues, and The Apprentice as well. So, we're having a good old chat and a good natter about stuff. But when it got time now where we had to pack up and go our separate ways, the conversation kind of switched a little bit. She sort of asked me, do you believe in God? And I said, yes, I believe in God. And so you're a Christian and everything. I said, yes, I am a Christian. She asked me whether, I raise my children in that way, Christian way. I said, yes, I do. So on. She was applauding that and everything like that. But because she studied philosophy, I think there were some things that maybe she came across along the way when she was studying it. And she asked me this question, which I've just said, did God create evil? And I believe it's something maybe that came up in her philosophy, which came across as if there was no answer to it. So she was obviously trying to pick my brains, see what I thought on the issue. So I asked her as well if she believes in God. She said, yes, she believes in God and so on. Okay, so I tried to answer this question, but I had to answer it very quickly because, like I said, we were packing up our stuff and we were going separate ways. And, when you're at work, you can't really go into these conversations proper. And sometimes these answers, that you need to often go back a little bit and you need to come up with a bit of history and come up with a few things before you get to that point to explain it properly. It's always like sometimes when you're explaining things in the Bible, you need to go back to Genesis so that it makes sense, okay? So I was aware of the time, I was aware that I wasn't going to answer this question properly, which is why I'm doing this video blog. And I have contacted her as well to let her know that I'll be doing a video blog on it so that she can watch it and it'll hopefully be a bit more informative. Okay, so one thing I did address with her was that we've got to understand that God created us with choice, free will. We have the choice to do good and we have the choice to do bad. And the reason for that is that obviously we want to have choice. God knew that if we are to serve him and be with him and choose him in our lives, then it should really be out of choice. None of us want to be with somebody because they're forced to be with us. We don't want to know that our spouse is with us because they feel forced to love us. We want to know that they are choosing to commit, choosing to love us. And it's the same with God. We're serving him. He needs to know that we are choosing that. But also we would want to know ourselves that we are doing something that we want to do. Wouldn't we want to know that we had the opportunity to choose to do something good rather than something bad? How many times have we grown up in life and been upset with somebody who doubted that we were going to make the right choice or doubted that we were going to make the right decision? And we were like, well, if you had a bit of faith and trust in me, you would have known that I would have done it like this, and so on. And It's the same thing. God wants us to have the choice and the options, and we want to be ourselves pleased that we made good choices. So it gives us satisfaction, and it gives God satisfaction that we chose something good. So that is one way of looking at this, why there is this good and this evil, and we shouldn't be annoyed so much that there is evil. Yes, we should be upset that bad things happen and, you know, people get hurt, and good people, the seemingly good people, I say seemingly because we're not, as we know from the word of God, we are all sinners, okay? But the seemingly good people, we want to know that they have they get it good and that they have a good life, and that we don't want to see good people get punished, okay? And I say that as a loose term again, because as I said, the Bible tells us that we are all sinners, okay? Sin is sin, regardless of what degree it is, okay? So let me get back to this. So that was the sort of thing I sort of spoke with her about, but it didn't probably answer the question enough. Did God create evil? The question she asked me was, do you not believe that God created everything? I said, yes, he created everything. So if he created everything, then surely he created evil. I said, no, he didn't create evil because God is a good God. He can't create something that's bad. He can only create good, okay? And she said, well, obviously you must believe that the devil sinned and so on. He was probably the first person, as we know, to sin. And if he was the first person to sin, then obviously he was given the option of doing good and evil. And if God created the devil, Lucifer at the time when he was an angel, if God created him, then obviously God created the possibility. He created the good and he created the bad, and obviously the devil chose to do bad. But that's what I want to just go on quickly, and I'm gonna break this down so simple and just keep it really easy for anybody to understand. So here's the answer to this question. First of all, we have to understand what evil is. Evil is not a thing. It doesn't have a smell. It's not something you necessarily touch. It's not a thing, so you can't really create it. Okay? Evil is quite simply, and in the most basic form of me putting this, evil is the absence of good. Or, to make it deeper, the absence of love. Because good things should be love. Not all good things we do are out of love, but I'm talking about just good. What is really good, natural good, real good, is actually a product of love. So, evil is the absence of love. Deeper still, because we know the Bible tells us God is love, so you can work it out. Evil is the absence of God. Okay? So the minute you choose not to do it God's way, that's evil. The minute you remove God out of it, it's evil. You're probably thinking, how is that true? Well, it's true. God is the definition of love. God is the definition of good. And he created good. But he also gave us free will to choose to do that good, or the ability to not do that good. When we not do that good, we get evil. So God didn't have to create evil. Like I said, evil is not a thing. Let me break it down again a little bit more, okay? I'm trying to keep this nice and simple for everybody. Darkness itself is what? We describe it, oh, it's black, it's dark, we can't see. But darkness is merely the absence of light, okay? You can have a little flicker of light, you can have a powerful torch, you can have a floodlight, you can have the sun. The minute you've got a bit of light, the darkness starts to decrease, okay? And that is what darkness is, absence of light. It's not really something you touch or whatever, it's a condition. Evil is like a condition, it's not really a thing, so it's not really created. Let me put it another way, I'm trying to think of another one. If you've got something that's wet, if you've got something that's damp, moist, whatever, okay? If you remove the water, if you remove the moisture, remove that, what you're left with, a condition. We call that condition dry. Dry is the absence of moisture, of water, whatever you want to call it. It's the absence of it. When you remove water from something, you remove moisture, you're left with a condition dry. You remove light and cancel that out and remove it, you're left with dark. Cold. Cold is the absence of heat. When you get to absolute cold, for example, that means that there's no heat. You could say there's absolutely no heat. When you get to absolute cold, absolute zero, should I say, that means it's the removal. There's no heat whatsoever. Okay? We can only measure these things when the other one is there. So we can only measure what darkness is if there is some light. So if it's dim light, we can say it's not very bright. Darkness is quite dark. The more lighter it becomes, the less of darkness there is, and we can measure darkness depending on the light. We can measure coldness depending on the heat. Okay, we can measure something cold, but it really depends on the heat that is there. It's the heat that actually allows us to really know what really cold is. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I can go on and on and on further. I'm actually going to say another one also. Remember, like I said, God made good. So God is not responsible for evil. When we choose evil, he's not responsible for it. Another example. Let's say you buy a nice Mercedes car. We know Mercedes cars are made well. The car's been tested. It's been safety checked. Everything is good about a Mercedes car, okay? Now you buy that car from the people, all right, from the showroom. Now you may one night go out drunk in that car and crash it. You may kill somebody, God forbid. Mercedes are not responsible for your handling of that car, right? They made a decent car. They made it good. They made it with all the safety requirements necessary, okay? You now have gone out and chosen to do something foolish. Chosen to drive a car being drunk, okay? And as a result, an evil has come out of it. An evil, killing a child or whatever, or killing somebody. Mercedes cannot be blamed for your neglect. You had the choice to drive that car, enjoy it, look after it, wash it, clean it, get it MOT'd, get it serviced, look after it, and you have the choice to drive it in the best state possible, okay? But the minute you chose to drive it in a way which you shouldn't have driven it, it's caused a problem. Now, the Mercedes cannot be blamed for that. And I'm just using it as an analogy because I like to use analogies to keep this simple for you. And if you, for example, have good, which God has made, and he wants us to do good, that's the fact of the matter. He does not want you to do evil. Now, when you do good, okay, when you choose evil and over the good, you cannot then blame God for the evil because he didn't make evil and he does not want you to do evil. Okay, there's two things. He didn't create evil and he does not want you to do evil. So when you do evil, you cannot blame God. Okay, now we know there's evil in the world that we're living in, and some of these things, let me put it another way. There's some things that we've done wrong because we've been influenced or we've been under the influence or whatever. So sometimes the decision to have done good has been harder. I'm not disputing that the decision to do good is always easy. I'm not saying that at all. We are tempted in this world that we live in. There are things that sometimes look appealing. There's some things that look really tantalizing to us. And the choice sometimes to do good can be extremely hard. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm trying to say is that the choice is still there to do good. So I hope I've answered the question. I could go deeper and deeper, but I mean, I'm just trying to keep it like this. Evil is not a thing or smell. It's not something that needs to be created. It is a condition. The removal of God brings about evil. And what was interesting actually with this girl, when I asked her, does she believe in God? And she said, yes. I said, so why do you believe in God? What was interesting about her answer was that she said, because of God, we can know what good is and what bad is. We can know God has made it. She believes in God because she said that God kind of gives there a law, a structure, and we would be lawless without him. Now, when looking at that, what she said there deeper, that kind of answers what I've just said here really in a different way, okay? So I hope that's answered your question. Did God create evil? Quite simply, no. Evil is not something you create. It's the condition of the removal of God. And I'm just going to leave it here. Evil is the result of what happens when man does not have God's love in his heart. Simple as. Get your mind open. Hope you enjoy my video blogs. All in one. Yeah.